Earlier this month, I had the opportunity to visit Bungie HQ to play the new Renegades content coming out December 2nd. Now, if you know me, you can probably guess the first thing I went for. That's right, I'm talking about the new Solar Special Ammo Exotic Crossbow Heirloom. Heirloom is technically categorized as a combat bow, but it's nothing like any other exotic or legendary bow frames. It's stylized as a crossbow, but unlike other crossbows in the game, which occupy the power slot, Heirloom sits in the energy slot. And unlike all other non-heavy bows, exotic or legendary, it's the only bow that uses special ammo, not primary. Slot assignment isn't the only way it's different than current crossbows too. Heirloom doesn't use traditional bolts that you can go and retrieve, and bolt isn't even an option under weapon perks. Instead, it has a battery, not unlike that of the combat bow's way distant cousin twice removed, the linear fusion rifle. One last comparison to make before digging into its details is that Heirloom is the third solar exotic bow, right next to Tiku's Divination and Hierarchy of Needs. Besides the fact that it uses special ammo and is therefore limited in terms of shots available, and it being a crossbow in general, another feature that sets it apart is that it doesn't require any sort of hip firing to proc or utilize the exotic trait. Quite the opposite, actually. As you'll see very shortly, most of its raw power comes directly from aiming down sights, and it's actually really cool once you get the hang of it. So let's finally get into what makes Heirloom, well, Heirloom, Destiny 2's first green ammo battery-powered bow. Let's look at its weapon perks and traits. It has ultralight rail for a rail, light heatsink for a battery in place of a crossbow's usual bolts, its exotic perk, which we'll come back to momentarily, and for a stock, short action stock. Now for the weapon's intrinsic trait, Bolt Thrower. This weapon fires high-powered explosive bolts, strong against unstoppable champions. It's here that we can confirm that even without a bolt perk, or the ability to retrieve bolts, Heirloom is still a crossbow, not an LFR. Next up is Heirloom's exotic trait, Big Game Hunter. Aim down sights for a period of time to overcharge the next bolt fired. Increases damage and area of effect for each charge level. Now here's where the crossbow starts to get really fun. But before I continue, I do want to mention that this footage is from an earlier build of the game, so some damage numbers and heat percentages may be different when Renegades goes live. As you aim down sights, a vertical blue and yellow meter in the center of the binoculars begins to raise, chirping at every third interval as it charges. There's a total of 3 charge levels. This is where the battery comes into play. As you charge the weapon by aiming down sights, the bow begins to heat up, which you can see under your super bar by the ammo. There's also an indicator in the sights that fills from white to red as it gets higher and hotter. When you finally take your shot, the heat drastically spikes up. You have the option to then vent to bring it back down to 0%, which is somewhat similar to reloading a weapon, or continue ADSing and firing it. The big thing to note is that once you get to 100% heat, you will need to vent your weapon in order to use it again. Check out what happens here when you don't vent it, and it does it for you. Yeah, clunky and annoying, I know. Make sure to vent your heirlooms, people. Heirloom also has a catalyst that gives even more big game energy. Direct hits with charged shots scorch the target. This weapon deals more damage against scorched targets. It didn't have the catalyst unlocked while I was playing with it, but I can imagine what it might be like at full charge, and I cannot wait to see if I'm right. So you may be asking, Sammy, are you going to actually use this bow? Yes. But it's a crossbow. Yes, I've come to terms with crossbows. But it takes special ammo. Yeah? So? I will say this every single stream and multiple times every single stream. I promise you that. If they make bows special ammo, I am not playing Destiny anymore. What can I say? Sometimes concessions must be made and words must be eaten. I'll admit it, I love this thing. You may also be asking, Sammy, where do we get this thing? You can get this beautiful beast of a bow from the brand new Equilibrium dungeon as early as December 13th when the dungeon goes live. And have no fear if you can't get it on your first drop. It's in the Pinnacle pool, so you'll get the chance to eventually focus and farm it. And this is where we come to a close on my very first actual YouTube video. If you're still here, thank you for taking the time to watch and hopefully get just as excited as I am. And a huge thank you to Bungie for the chance to share all of this early access content with you guys. If you enjoyed what you see and want to see more, drop a like and hit that sub button. This really is only the beginning. And I am so excited!